So in this video, we'll start with an analogy for event loop, and we'll try to understand it and relate it to the real life situation, and like just to build an intuition around how it works, right? So what is event loop and what does it do basically? So let's forget about event loop for a while, which this video is about, but let's build an intuition first. Let's say you have a restaurant, right? Let's say you have I hope the spelling is correct, restaurant. Yeah, okay, cool. So what it has is, it has, let's say these are the tables. We have some 4 tables here, where the customers will be there. This is the waiter. This is another waiter. And behind that we have the kitchen. So we have the cook here, let's say. So what's the basic flow of how a restaurant works, right? So what happens is some new customer comes in. So some new customer comes in, they take a chair, they call the waiter goes to the customer, they place an order, the order goes to the chef. This is the chef, this is the, let's say, waiter, this is the waiter, and let's say this one is the customer. So the customer comes in, the waiter takes the order, the waiter goes to the chef. The chef has, let's say, a list to maintain the sequence of orders. Let's say order 1, order 2, order 3, and so on, right? So as customers keep on coming, orders keep on increasing, and as orders keep on increasing, the chef's responsibility is to get the item from here, cook it, and serve it back, right? And they are done. So basically that's what, so that's how that this analogy sort of translates to an event loop as well, right? So whenever you have something to execute, the customer is represents some process that requires an execution right here. So when a waiter takes an order, it pushes the order to its list, right? So it will be in the end, and it will, like, the chef will keep fetching the orders and preparing the food and giving them back, right? So as someone comes, they place order, it will stack up, it will keep on extending, and the chef will create the orders and keep on canceling it. So it's how the process executes. There is a queue that stores all of this, and based on that, it kind of executes all of them and gives it away, right? But there are many edge cases as well. Let's say some customer wants something miscellaneous, like let's say they ask for extra ketchup or something like that, which doesn't make sense for it to make an order, or it's somewhat related to an order. Let's say they ordered some food and now they're thirsty and now they need water or something. So that's kind of a tasks that come up because of the previous task. So those sort of go into the micro task queue, which is a different queue than the event loop main queue, right? The main task queue, which is called the main queue is called the main task queue, and the other queue that is responsible for doing this small kind of thing, which is related to the tasks of the main task, is called the micro task queue. So that's how it operates. Now the micro task is handled by, let's say, this waiter, the main task is handled by this waiter. So let's say 2 waiters are responsible for both of them, right? And we can have another similar thing for the micro task here. The chef does not look into it, let's say, for that matter, and it just happens to be done on the go depending on whatever order there is, right? So that's how micro tasks work. That's how main task queue works. And other than that, what we have is, we have some other things, right? So let's say some order takes a while to prepare. Let's say it takes, you have ordered some cake or any dessert as such that will require some amount of baking. So what the chef would do is, it would not wait for the baking to finish before moving on to the next order, right? So it will have the, like, if let's say this order is maybe some cake, right? Cake or maybe pizza, let's say. So what it would do is, it would take the pizza, it would put it in the oven, for that matter. It will set the timer, let's say 12 minutes or so, and then wait for it. And then in the meantime, it won't sit idle. The chef won't sit idle. The chef will move to the next order, right? And when it's done, it will serve it back. So that's the situation in case of functions like event loop and promises and so on, right? So there is something called web APIs. So these are sort of built on the side, which don't run on the main thread, because JavaScript is single threaded, and you can imagine there is a single chef. So that's what. So it has to delegate some things to something else. So that's where the web APIs come in. So here, for example, this the process of putting the pizza in the oven for preparation it's like a web API task. So things like set timeout and all, those come in there. So those are handled in an async manner. Right now, let's not try to understand how event loop does it, or like how the queue does it, or how it happens in event loop. I mean, basically, let's build this analogy first for an example of a restaurant, right? So that's what. So let's go through this all over once again. The customer comes in. First step, they place an order. When they place an order, the waiter takes the order and notifies the chef. The chef has a list of all of the orders that are there, and the chef will prepare them in sequence. And if there is any order that takes some amount of time, the fixed time, let's say preparing a pizza takes 12 minutes in the oven, but that 12 minutes the chef need not sit idle. He can move on to the next order until that's done, and then move on to that again, right? So that's the fifth thing. And the sixth thing is the miscellaneous part, right? So let's say you order something very spicy, you need water. So that's like a micro task associated with a big task, which was ordering the spicy food, and then you sort of went down to asking the waiter for water. That's a micro task related to that. So those micro tasks are handled by the micro task queue, and we'll come to that, but just keep in mind these 6 things. So this video is mostly about building the analogy of it. So if you understand this whole thing, we'll translate this to a situation of an event loop and see how those, like both of those things are kind of correlated to each other, right? So yeah, I think that should be it for this video. If you like the video, leave a comment. If you have any feedbacks, leave them as well. And yeah, see you folks in the next video, guys. Bye.